Yes, so you have found yourself now awoken more than ever before. And this has surprised you when you have thought that there was already a bigger awakening last year, and potentially you have felt like you have been awoke for longer, where you have been aware of the control systems and other agendas. You're pretty comfortable with the knowledge that you have had previously, and then you stumble across our information, which has a higher frequency vibration of consciousness, which is our consciousness, as we are projecting this information to you in this 3D vehicle, to your 3D ears, which is then feeding back into your higher perspective and your own higher dimensional vehicles. It is a conversation that is reverberating through our information when we are in the seventh dimension, talking to you now, transmitting this information down into the third dimension, out to your third dimensional ears, and then that is reverberating back into your subconscious and your own higher selves and your own collectives. And so this is an interesting game, as you say, of telegram or whispers or something else. So we are sharing this information not just with the 3D beings, but also other collectives who are wanting to hear our information. You think to yourselves now, well, why can't collectives just talk amongst themselves? And we say we're so busy with other things. We are just working on our own projects, our own missions, and we don't catch up with our own interweb of connections as much as you would think. We are, of course, very easily able to communicate with each other, and this way is a very valid way as well, because we're all checking in on what you're absorbing and hearing and what others are, and making sure that it is reaching the 3D ears, it's reaching those 3D mindsets, and it is being absorbed as it needs to be. Of course, collectives do talk amongst collectives, but we're wanting to see how it actually is being absorbed by the 3D beings that are listening to this. So can you understand? When we send out our messages and it goes through you and it gets absorbed by you and you process it with your mindsets, and then your own teams check in and see, well, we know that they've heard this entire message, but what did they absorb? What can they apply? And this is important. If you can't apply the information, you get stuck. You can't see the bigger perspective. You're still holding on to the emotions of things that you think are important, and everything you're experiencing and learning and having to focus on right now and in these last few weeks and months and years, they're all very purposeful. But those sticking points, those challenges that you can't get yourself out of, to see neutral, to see the purpose, to see the lessons, to understand the experiences, to accept them and move on. This is what we are all trying to help you with, is the next step after feeling those emotions, the next thoughts of processing those experiences. That is us trying to help you do your inner work and to be able to apply the bigger perspective, while we are all preparing you to be able to make that shift into the higher dimensions. We are encouraging you and pressurizing you to experience and release and overcome and master the third dimensional of mindset. It is more the emotions that you're supposed to be overcoming and processing than the actual physical daily routines. You are noticing that you're very lethargic and not wanting to do your routines of potentially your exercises or your housework or even your real paid work or your identity to who you are, paid work, shall we say. So it's very noticeable for you how you don't have that motivation to be physical anymore, because physical was not really part of the reason why you came to experience and master the third dimension. Mastering the third dimension for most is about mastering those emotions, feeling them, observing them, releasing them, understanding the purpose. And it's all to get yourself back into fully loving and empowering yourself, remembering who you actually are, and remembering that you can hold on to small details of something forever, or you can observe a small detail, process it, understand it, and move to the next experience. It's all your choice. We understand that many of you have been labeled with certain diseases or illnesses that a professional has given in their wisdom to you, and you've owned it. You've put that badge, that title of that disease or illness or label. You're holding on to it as if that is your middle name, as if that actually is your first name or your last name. You identify with that label because you've been told that is what you have. And many people are getting stuck with that. It could be a label of being separated or divorced or widowed, or a label of cancer or mental illness or something else. And as soon as you start trying to align yourself to these labels, that is when you are manifesting and creating yourself to be put within that label. And potentially that is something you may want to find yourself out of that box, out of that label, releasing it. Because we are saying from the metaphysical perspective, those labels truly don't identify with who you are and what you're doing and why. The why is important. Understanding you're much more than labels. It is challenging for us because we have so much to tell you and to explain to you and support you and encourage you in this incredible time where you're feeling this tension, you're feeling this push and drive as if there is something quite important you need to be focusing on. There needs to be some sort of big change that you feel driven to finding. You don't know whether it's a location or a vacation or a career path. There is something within you that is driving you to have big changes. But when you are physically exhausted, you're concerned, you're not getting enough sleep, and you're having many dreams that make you question your sanity, this is part of your bigger awakening. And we're not wanting you to focus too much on relocating or focusing on studying or your careers at this point, because you didn't come here to master careers. You didn't come here to get stuck in materialism and labels. You came here to awaken yourself and to awaken others with your higher perspective, and having conversations with people instead of buying into their fear, having conversations about the dialogue of being multidimensional being. You can own your truth, and you can own being respected by others who you are sharing your truth with. You are not coming from an aggressive approach. You're coming from I'm sharing something with you that I am working through. If you can bear with me as I want to share this with you, is allowing that person who is listening to you to hold space for you as you are sharing and trying to process the inner truth that you now know. Once you're awoken to this truth, it is nearly impossible to undo it. Because you're activated yourself. When you listen to these sessions, you are more awoken than you had before because of the higher frequency vibrations of information. And you're allowing yourself now to be able to be open to the truth because you feel that this is important, because you also believe that you need to know the truth because you've been seeking it. And of course, when you hear the information, It can be very scary. You can feel very uncomfortable and overwhelmed and feel like you've only got 3 pieces of a 25,000 piece puzzle. And that is okay. Those 3 important pieces that you have are the most important for you right now. So be grateful that you have 3 when many have none. And so uh, you are exactly where you need to be. And you have mastered most of your 3D and you are moving forward at a rapid rate as you are becoming more and more and more aware of the synchronicities that are happening on your planet, more of the synchronicities and alignment that you're feeling within your body, within your mind. It is hard for you to deny it when you know the truth resonates deeply within you. When we give you so many profound dreams and experiences and thoughts that you don't know where they came from, we want to say to you and remind you that being crazy is not what's happening to you right now. It would be crazy for you to not know the truth at this point. So if that makes anyone feel comfortable with labels, there is our one for you. Many people who have been needing justification of the crimes against humanity, not wanting to leave this planet until they see their pound of flesh, until they see justice. They need this because they will not move. They do not want to leave without this. They feel like they have a reward system where they can watch the disclosures and then they can leave. If you already know about the crimes against humanity and all the hidden agendas, why do you need to be woken up to that? You have already been awoke to it. You don't need to be experiencing that again, just so you can say to your family and friends, I told you so. Remembering that is a very 3D perspective. No one should be happy that they're right about the crimes against humanity because they're of their significance, because of how horrific they are. And we know you know that. It's the reason why you are so diligently wanting to tell others about them. But they're not for your entertainment, they're not for your justifications that you were right and others were wrong. This was a part of your awakening for you to understand what is happening to this planet and what is happening to humanity. So you understand when you see the shifts happening and the changes that you can be able to then fill in the gaps for those. You don't want to be in shock this lifetime with this evacuation. And that was part of your contract. But you still judge others because they don't know the bigger truths than what you think you know, because they're diligently focusing on holding energy. Many beings knew that they would not be able to cope with hearing the bigger information about the crimes against humanity, so they had it in a clause that they would never wake up to it, because they're so deeply sensitive to that, because they would never be able to see the bigger picture from that. They could never, ever perceive how they would accept that humanity has been so cruel to humanity and other beings being so cruel to other beings. So they have to be oblivious just so they can cope and live. And while we know that many of you have felt like it's your role and you're entitled to tell them all this horrificness, they have been blocked from hearing you because of their higher selves and subconsciouses, knowing that their people they are protecting and supporting and guiding through life would never be able to cope with it. We would say some people, if they could hear the information, could have a breakdown because of it, because they're just not prepared to be able to cope with that information. And so while we understand the agenda for many to tell others about it, it is not information for all. And if you can respect other people's contracts and what they should know and what they can cope with, you would be more able to focus on your own inner work and more focused on what you can handle hearing rather than assuming others can cope just like you. that is comparing yourselves again to each other. And you are all individual, unique snowflakes, shall we say, with much love. And what you can handle, others may not. And so we understand that you want support with the information that you know. You deeply want to be able to talk about it to others. But this may not be a sharing situation. This is about you thinking about these things for you, working through them, understanding them for yourself. If you're lucky and you have others that you can talk about with this, then that is wonderful. But for those who feel so alone with this information and do not know how to share it, talk about it, process it, we want you to talk about it with us. We want you to sit down and close your eyes and be able to say, how am I supposed to process this? What am I supposed to do? And just allow us to let you feel our energy. We may give you a sense or some words or a feeling. And this is us trying to support you with connecting in. And we've asked you many times to be able to connect in with us because we are here of service. We are your guides. And when you use your free will and open up yourselves to be able to hear us and sense us, giving you our love, our support, and our wisdom and our bigger perspective, then this will help guide you. Don't expect a huge conversation with us to start. You're going to have small bite-sized information, just subtle things at first, as you're starting to trust and learn the information and be able to trust connecting in with us and being able to have this connection at a deeper level. We know so many of you struggle with this because you still have this lack of self-love and trust. And we would like you all to be working on this now because you all can trust yourselves and you can all love yourselves because you've already mastered so much. You've already learned from so much. So if there is things that you are not happy about yourself that you have done to yourself or others, this is time for you to release and heal that because it no longer serves you to be judging yourself and comparing yourself today to the person you were last month and last week and last year is not kind to yourself, really, because you're supposed to be growing. And comparisons of now and then only see it as a positive, only celebrate the growth and the moving forward. So many people belittle themselves because of a time that they didn't cope. And that is okay. You're all allowed to not cope as you are processing the inner work and moving through it. But you are overcoming that, and you can see the stepping stones that you've made out of that. We want to talk to you about timelines. We understand that you're wanting dates, minutes, hours for the events to unfold. And we want to tell you all that you have multiple options. There's multiple possibilities, windows for these to happen. And we will tell you right now, when the shift does happen, it will be the most appropriate time for all. And that is going to have to be accepted by you for many reasons. The lessons you learn on an hourly rate, a minute rate, are profound. You are growing so fantastically right now. And those around you are also growing. So we are on standby. We are focusing and monitoring on this very situation very closely. We want you to know that we have prepared everything perfectly. And you can trust that you have higher dimensional beings that are well aware of the situation. We have been training for this for a long time. We will not forget you. We will not leave you. We will not let you be exposed to anything that you do not need to be exposed to. Remembering we don't want to traumatize you, that would be not of your best wishes. It would not be of your best purpose and significance and experience to go out with I want to say a bang, but it is not the most appropriate analogy. We want you to focus on farewelling your life. We want you to do it with dignity and grace and appreciation for all the experiences and lessons. And until that time comes when you are shifting, we're wanting you to have profound gratitude for every gift that you have, every person that is in your life, every food you taste, every comfort you feel. Do not take anything for granted. Celebrate all you have. Humble yourself. Stop thinking about financial situations or abundance and materialism or the fame or the attention or the anything that actually doesn't feed your soul. Those are your wants. We're asking you to celebrate and appreciate your needs and the things you do have that you actually need to focus on. The connections with your people that are in your lives are profound. Celebrate them, love them, honor them, appreciate all, even the ones that trigger you, because they're giving you experiences of growth. And as you are so happy and grateful for the teachers that you've had in your lives that have helped you and empowered you and supported you, you must also see that from those who have triggered you. Growth is growth. You need to stop judging the good growth and the bad growth from lessons if you understand what we are saying. All is purposeful. All is as it needs to be. And all of the lessons that you've collected and experienced are profoundly important and significant. Many of you still think that you are nothing, meaningless and unworthy. And we are saying you couldn't be more further away from the truth if you tried. You're all extraordinary beings here, being of service, holding the light, working on your inner work and trauma from this lifetime and any other lifetimes that you have experienced. Give yourselves a break. Celebrate what you have achieved and overcome. Allow things to flow. Do not force anything, yourself or others. Celebrate your life. Celebrate others. It really isn't as bad as you are thinking. Being here now that you know that everything that has been provided for you in this lifetime has been of service to you to give you this profound third dimensional experience. We want you to have positivity. We want you to have empowerment. We also want you to remember who you are and what exciting future plans you have. You have so much to look forward to. Use this time wisely. Feel and follow through with your bodies, noticing the mind. And if it's starting to worry and panic and feel busy, give it a task. Give it a task to look around everything that you have right there with you and feel appreciation and gratitude for all that you have around. You may only have one small thing in an empty room, which is yourself. And you can be very grateful for that. Changing your perspective, being appreciative of the smallest things and the biggest things can really profoundly empower your life. We know that you all have this drive to help humanity and serve humanity the most. You're all not too sure how to do it. And we say to you, it starts with you. It's always been about you. And you are the one that is in control of you and are responsible of you. And of course, we would like to say we've always been your backup dancers to support you in the dance and in this play that you have chosen to do. We would never let you down, and we would never walk away from you as you are still focusing on what you feel is a very real 3D life that is very important and significant. It is important and it is significant, but not for the reasons that you are and have often thought of. There is so much that you can release, all the worries. When you know that the shift is happening, it suddenly makes your focus on your bigger life here in this planet seem foreshortened. And while it has, you were never promised a long life anyway, with a full retirement and die at 102. You always knew the risk of living was that you would have an expiry date that you felt you had no idea, that you were controlling a ticking time bomb of you exiting what you thought once was your only lifetime here. The days that you have and the weeks that you have and however long you are on this planet can be celebrated. And as much as many people want to feel frustrated and a victim to their own choices being here, it literally is that you chose to come here. You chose to experience it. And while you can't remember all the reasons why, we hope that this loving conversation that we're having with you now is to remind you that you're fully in control of this. We are fully supporting you in what you needed and wanted in this lifetime. Why would we drop the ball at the last hour and slip up and not help protect you and all the ones you love around you? It is not a weird lotto game of who wins to go to New Earth or move off this planet. It's very purposeful who stays here on the old Earth for many reasons. And so we're saying, do not worry about anything. You will all go to exactly where you need to. You will all experience exactly what you need to. Experiencing is the lesson and the purpose. You could all have chosen to have imprints of these lives from someone else, but you didn't want to have imprints. You wanted to have full control over the bodies and over the minds and over the experiences of physically living here now. You've prepared for these lifetimes for a long time. You can naturally, easily master these lives now if you chose to. And however that will be unfolding for you as you use your free will, we say that the greatest, the most valuable thing in this planet is peace of mind. Trust in yourself, that you have worked out the best life experiences for you is one of the most comforting mindsets there is. Knowing that everything that you're experiencing is a gift for you to see the purpose Sometimes there's opportunities for you to be triggered just so you can show yourself you're not triggered anymore. See it from the biggest perspective, because that will always give you that inner peace. And that is when you're truly living here in the 3D, when you've mastered it so well, and you're all so close to this. We send you our support, love, and gratitude for opening up to us at this important time. It gives us great joy to be able to connect with you. And we say this with much love.